All right, what is up, Utes fans? This is Joseph back with the Utah Utes Football Digest and the final game of the Pac 12 slate and the final game of the regular season is coming up for Utah, heading into Colorado to take on the Buffs. Should be a pretty easy game for Utah to win, but there's so much riding on this game. Pac 12 championship hopes. What bowl do the Utes go to? I mean, a lot going on. The Utes, they win this game. They finish 9-3, and a lot on the line. Should be a really exciting one. It's going to be this Saturday, November 26th at 2 p.m. Utah headed to Colorado to take on the Buffs. Let's check it out.
I'll make it look like I'm losing. Won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless.
So many questions. So first off, what is riding on the line this weekend? It's quite a bit, guys. I think everyone's been talking about it all week, but I think I'd be doing the video injustice if we didn't start with the number one thing going on this weekend, and that is the Utes still have a shot to go to the Pac-12 championship. So as we look at what that would look like, Josh Newman reported this, right after the Oregon game. Just to give you guys an idea, it's pretty exciting. So how it'll work is Utah can still get to the Pac-12 championship if a few things happen. And to be clear, I'd say it's more likely they don't happen than they do, but it does feel pretty damn realistic. This isn't exactly like a Hail Mary. It's more like a 3rd and 15, right? It's maybe a 3rd and 20. Like, it's going to be tough to make it happen, but there's a really good shot it does. A lot on the line, like I said. So how it'll work is if the Utes do wind up going to the Pac-12 championship, the things that are going to need to happen is, first off, Utah's going to need to get the win against Colorado this weekend. That's the first big one. That shouldn't be too crazy. So Utah beats Colorado. The other big thing is Oregon State beats Oregon. That sounds kind of tough, right? Oregon is a pretty good team. They looked really good against Utah, but Oregon State is one of the toughest places in the country to go play at. And Oregon is heading to Oregon State this weekend. For me, this one's more of a coin flip. I would absolutely not be surprised if Oregon State wins this game. Probably a very small lean to Oregon, but still, like I said, right down the middle with that game. Oregon heading to Oregon State really makes it a little spicier. The other thing is Washington needs to beat Washington State. Now, Washington has that high-powered, high-flying passing attack, and they are, quite a team when it comes to airing it out. They actually beat Oregon at home, which is a pretty big deal. Washington State is a good squad, definitely a good squad, not a win that you can just chalk up. I actually think Washington State might be slightly favored in that one, but either way, I got to favor Washington in this. They're a hugely high-flying offense, and we beat Washington State with our backup quarterback. Really doesn't seem crazy to me that Washington should win this game. I'd say I feel, optimistic that does happen. The final thing is UCLA beats Cal. So UCLA beating Cal, UCLA is clearly a better team than Cal. That's not unrealistic at all. I'd say if anything, that would be more just UCLA crap in the bed if they were not to beat Cal. And don't forget, UCLA does have some stuff on the line. This could change what type of bowl game UCLA is looking at if they get the win or don't get the win. So I feel good about that too, guys. So with all those to happen, I'm going to recap it real quick. Utah beats Colorado. I feel like that should be a check mark. I'm not saying it's for sure going to be easy, but we are a significantly better team than Colorado is, and we should get it done. Oregon State beats Oregon. They're playing at Oregon State. Oregon State is one of the toughest places in the country to play. Don't forget, last year, we're rolling. We look great. Boom, out of nowhere, Oregon State beats us when we go there to play. Washington beats Wazoo, or Washington beats Washington State, right? I feel like that's going to happen. That's my gut. That Washington State offense is high-powered. We had our backup quarterback in and put up 21 on them. I would imagine they're going to put up 35 if they got Michael Penix in there. Penix, however you say it. And UCLA beats Cal. Come on, dude. You think Zach Charbonnet is getting stopped by Cal? And if they do sell out to stop him, I wouldn't be surprised to see Dorian Thompson-Robinson make some plays. So that's what needs to happen for Utah to get to the Pac-12 championship. If you guys like this type of video, please make sure you guys give the video a like. It really goes a long way in helping get the video out to more Utes fans. Also, comment in the chat, guys. I really try to get back to as many comments as possible. My number one goal for this channel is for us to be a community that just talks about Utah football 24/7, 365. That's really the goal. And finally, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Subscribing to the channel will give you updates on everything I'm posting. And I can tell you guys, I really don't think there's anyone else that gives you guys as much content about Utah football as this channel. And I try to hold myself to that standard. So I really hope you do subscribe and do the same. And if you guys are big fans of this channel, if you guys really appreciate everything we do, the number one thing you could do to help out the channel is take this video and share it. That could be sharing it with a friend. But more than that, share it on your favorite Utah football Facebook page. Share it on Twitter. Share it, however you want to do it. Post it on your Facebook. However you guys want to do it. I saw someone post on UteHub the other day. UteHub.com posted one of my videos. That was awesome, guys. Wherever you want to post it, help get the word out, help build the community, and help grow the channel. But outside of that, let's go ahead and dive back in the video and break down the Utah versus Colorado matchup. All right, so let's talk about some of the players for Utah, some of the questions coming into this game. So last week against Oregon was probably the worst game I've ever seen Cam Rising play, right? It wasn't as bad as some people are making it out to be. And I'm not saying it's the worst game I've ever seen anyone play, but Cam Rising is usually money and usually just gets the damn job done. Last week, that was not the case. He left a lot to be desired, and you have to really be wishing he could have gotten that done. It was so damn close, and he could just not pull it off, even though there were so many opportunities to get it done. Definitely sad. You got to wonder what's going on there. What is he going to look like against Colorado? Because even if all those scenarios happened I mentioned earlier, it's just not going to work out. We can't win the conference championship if he looks like that. So I think this week is a great opportunity for Cam to bounce back against a less than stellar Colorado team that might not be up to the task of keeping this offense in check. We also got Tavion Thomas, who really looked lackluster last week, continually just dry, would hit the hole with a lack of energy. I know they were stuffing the run. Like, they were definitely selling out to stuff the run, but it just wasn't there, man. He didn't look like he wanted it. And I know a lot of people are defending Tavion a lot, and I'm not bashing the guy. I'm just saying that hopefully the headspace is cleared and he's ready to go run the ball with some tenacity again, just like he did against Stanford. Wild that he would go from Stanford to Oregon. Think about Tavion against Stanford, then think about Tavion against Oregon. Just two completely different players. They did not look great. He did not look great. And only 687 yards in the season. That's not terrible for Tavion rushing the ball. But the truth is, we expected a lot more from this guy. Last year, he was like a runaway train, and this year, it just has not been there. We got to keep a close eye on Tavion. Hopefully, he bounces back here against Colorado. This should be a good opportunity for a lot of these guys to bounce back, and especially if we do get to that conference championship, these guys will have an opportunity to kind of shake off the rust. And even if we don't get to the conference championship, pretty sure we're still going to a decent bowl game, and it'll be a good opportunity for these guys to get back before whatever game we go to after this. All right, finally, we got Dalton Kincaid. So Dalton Kincaid has been a monster playmaker all year. So Brant Kuithe goes down early in the year, devastating. But if you've been following this channel, if you've been following Utah football at all, you know that Dalton Kincaid is a monster, and he was going to fill in very well. I don't think I even expected him to fill in quite as well as he did. He has really just taken the ball and I want to say ran with it, but not really, more like taking the ball and just caught it a lot. Uh, just to give you guys an idea, let me pull up his game log here. So on the season, Dalton Kincaid has 1, 2, 3 games of 99 or more. One of those games is 99 yards. One of those games is 234 yards, and one of those games is 107 yards. And then outside of that, including those games, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games with 50 or more receiving yards. I mean, he has been an awesome player. Some team is going to get a steal in the draft, and don't forget how much injury played a role. I mean, there was a good 3-game stretch there where we were really worried about his shoulder, and he was still putting up numbers. So, great guy there, Dalton Kincaid. You can't ask any more from the guy with the performance he's put out there this season. Another guy I want to talk about on Utah has been Clark Phillips on defense. Clark Phillips has been a monster, dude. Clark Phillips, 6 interceptions on the year. If I'm correct, that's tied for the most in the NCAA. The guy is just fantastic. There's nothing bad you could say against him. Just a great player. He really has done a great job of shutting down some of the best receivers in college football. He's got 23 tackles in the season as well. 6 picks, dude. He's probably locked in as a first-round pick. He's really established himself quite well this year. Now, Cole Bishop is another guy that's been pretty great all year. His status is active for this upcoming game, but you really never know with the Utes. We keep everything close to the vest. He's got 1 interception, 1.5 sacks, and 66 tackles in the year. He's a really good player, Cole Bishop. Hopefully he's all healthy and ready to go. And definitely a guy that I think, kind of not exactly shined a ton this year, but had his moments and is definitely one of the leaders of this defense. All right, now let's look at the Colorado playmakers. Honestly, there's not a lot to get excited about. So you look at this team, their leading passer on the year is JT Shrout with 1,220 passing yards and a completion percentage of 44.3%. That is not good. That is actually pretty terrible. I can't think of the time I saw a quarterback at the Pac-12 that was throwing under 50% on the season. 7 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. I'm not going to spend the night bashing the guy, but definitely not numbers you want out of a guy. Those are pretty sad numbers. The next guy that's a playmaker for Colorado is Deion Smith. Now, Deion Smith has 81 carries in the season for 390 yards. Just so you guys know who to look for out there, Deion Smith is the running back, and he is number 20 for Colorado. 81 attempts, 390 yards, averaging 4.5 yards per carry and 2 touchdowns. There's also Alex Fontenette as a running back playmaker for Colorado. He's running back number 8, and he is looking at 58 attempts for 304 yards, 5.2 yards per carry, 1 touchdown on the year. So not a terrible running back duo, but I'm guessing they're throwing so poorly that they kind of got to force feed these guys. But the average isn't bad either. So I wouldn't take their running game super lightly. Wide receiver Jordan Tyson for Colorado. He's number 16. Only has 470 yards in the year, 4 touchdowns. So not exactly like a huge playmaker. But either way, so, Colorado, it's not looking like they're going to have a ton to throw out there as playmakers. So I'm going to stop it there. But those are probably some guys to watch that could possibly be playmakers. All right, so now let's take a look at how these teams have been doing on the year in the different statistical categories. First off, we're going to take a look at rushing yards per game. So rushing yards per game, Utah is number 19 in the country at 201.1 yards per game, whereas Colorado is not quite so high. Colorado is 107th in the country at 113.3 yards per game. And don't forget, we just looked at the key players, and their key players look to be more running backs than it was quarterback. So the fact that they're 107th in the country at rushing yards per game, and that's where they kind of have the talent, that's a concern for Colorado going into a matchup against a team that really likes to expose your weaknesses like Utah. Now let's talk about passing yards per game. So passing yards per game, Utah is 58th in the country at 234.1 passing yards per game. So right dead smack in the middle there, where Colorado is going to be. Colorado for passing yards per game is 116th at 177.5 yards per game. So, not great in any of those categories for Colorado, where Utah is a very good running team and an average passing team. And I think the average passing numbers don't tell the whole story. I think a little bit of that has to do with a couple bad games and a game where we had a backup quarterback in. So now let's look at total yards per game. So total yards per game, Utah is 28th in the country at 435.2 yards per game, which means, one of the better offenses in the country at driving the ball, at getting yards, consistently moving the ball. Let's take a look at Colorado. So Colorado for yards per game is 122nd in the country at 290.7 yards per game. So not good at all there. Not a good look for Colorado. That's not what you're going to want to see. And then let's take a look at total offensive scoring. Let me pull that up here. Boom. Points per game. All right. Sorry, give me one second. Oh, here we go. Points per game. So points per game for the teams. Utah is 22nd in the country at 33.7 yards per game. And don't forget, that average probably took a little bit of a hit, considering last game we only put up 17 points, one of our worst offensive performances on the year, where Colorado is 126th in the country at 14.9 yards per game. So they're averaging less than 15 points per game. Pretty dreadful offense you got there with Colorado. Now let's take a look at how each team does on defense. So on defense, Utah, let's take a look. Utah is 26th at rushing yards allowed per game at 123.1 rushing yards allowed per game. So very good team there, right up in that top quarter of all teams. And then Colorado for rushing yards allowed per game. Let's take a look at that. So Colorado is 130th, so second from last in the entire country at 236.5 yards per game. Definitely not what you want to see if you're a Colorado fan. If you're a Utah fan, you got to like that, especially when you consider that running the ball is one of our keys. When we play teams that don't defend the run well, that's when we do really well. It seems like a team like Oregon that's bad against the pass but good against the rush is a team that we struggle against, right? We really do a good job at making them pay if they don't know how to stop the run. So when it comes to stopping the pass, so Utah with passing yards allowed per game, not too great, especially, we've had some high-flying passing attacks going against us. We're still more in the middle, but Utah's 69th in the country at 231 yards per game. Last game, Bo Nix kind of did a number on us, even though he couldn't move around a lot. He got 287 yards on us. And then let's look at Colorado. Where are they at passing yards allowed per game? All right, so Colorado is 106th at 263.4 passing yards per game allowed. And what you got to like about that is it's a good opportunity for Cam to get back, right? It's really, really is a good opportunity for him to get back. Now, total defense allowed per game. Let's take a look at the two teams. So we'll put those two numbers together. Utah's 33rd in the country at 354.1 yards per game, where Colorado is 129th, so third from last in the country at 499.9 yards per game. So, the ranking, your perception of Colorado is probably right. You know what I mean? Colorado is struggling, right? Let's go ahead and look at opponent points per game. So how many points does each team let up per game? Utah's 27th in the country at 21.3 yards per game. Our defense, does a pretty damn good job at not allowing people to score. Now, Colorado, this is not surprising, but a bad look for Colorado. They're 131st in the country at 42.8 yards per game allowed. That is a bad look for Colorado. They kind of let up a ton of points, let up a ton of yards. Just a bad look. And it's been a bad season for Colorado. I don't want to say any, I don't want to get overconfident about this game, but I'm pretty sure we're going to run through these guys, and should be a great opportunity for us to get back. Let's take a look at predictions and kind of how I think this game will go. All right, now let's talk about predictions. So I've been hinting at it the whole time. I think this is going to be a really great get-back game. And as we were breaking down those stats, guys, Utah is a pretty damn good rushing offense. We faced a really good rushing defense in Oregon, so it didn't feel like it. But in general, we do such a damn good job running the ball. And Colorado's really bad against the run. I think we're going to run for a lot of yards. I feel confident in the 200 mark, at least 200 rushing yards on these guys. And I think, this isn't a great pass defense either. They're pretty bad against the pass. So if you want to throw for a lot of yards on them too, it's a great opportunity to do it. And what better time to get Cam ready, get him loose, get him healthy than now, right? It was such a bad look last week for Cam. Let's go out there. Let's let him sling the rock, get Vele some receiving yards, get Kincaid some receiving yards. Wouldn't be surprised to see both those guys hit 100 receiving yards and see Tavion hit 100 rushing yards. So I feel really good about it. I think we're going to put up a lot of points. I think it's going to be a game where we come out intense, ready to play, and looking nasty, dude. I think we're going to, because we got bullied a little last week, right? Our offense got bullied a little by that defense, and I think we're going to come out looking a different way, guys. I think we're going to be looking for revenge, and I feel bad for Colorado that they have to be the guys to take the revenge. Defensively, Colorado doesn't do much good on offense either. They're below average rushing, but it is their strong thing, where our defense is pretty good against the rush, right? They're below average against the pass, which, I don't know. We have a pretty good pass defense, just yardage wise. I think they're going to struggle. I think we're going to get a lot of turnovers. Clark Phillips probably has another pick. Wouldn't be surprised if one or two other guys got a turnover in this game, and definitely get some sacks, cause some pressure. So how I see it going, I think we're going to run the ball. I think on offense, we're kind of going to do what we want. I think on defense, they're going to struggle to stop us. Tavion, get back game. Cam, get back game. Really, really tough matchup for Colorado in the Utes. So I see us winning this game 52-13. That's how I see this one going. We start off slow in a lot of these games. I could see them hanging in it for a quarter, but then we're going to get the ball rolling. We're going to blow these guys out of the damn water, and it's going to get ugly. 52-13, 250 plus passing yards for Cam. I see 200 plus rushing yards for this offense. I mean, this defense allows 499 yards per game. There's absolutely no reason we can't go out there and just light it up. I mean, it's almost like 250 plus passing and 200 plus rushing is modest, considering what they let up usually, and we're a better team than a lot of the teams we play. I'm going to take it up a notch. Let's say 275 plus passing. I don't think we'll need to, but I think we could do it if we want to. And then I see 250 plus rushing. So let's take that up a notch. Again, 52-13 for the Utes. Should be a big win. Before we get out of here, guys, make sure you guys like the video. Helps get it out to more Utes fans. Also, comment down below. I love interacting with you guys in the community and having fun and engaging in Utah football talk. Also, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I said it earlier, but I'll say it again, guys. The best thing you guys can do if you want to help support this channel is share the videos. Share it on your favorite Utah football Facebook page. Share it on Twitter. Share it on your Facebook. Share it, whatever you want to do. And tag me in it, however you want to do that, at Utah Utes Balling. Seriously, guys, that's probably the best thing you guys can do to help get more people introduced to the channel. Outside of that, guys, I'm out of here. Should be a fun weekend and so much on the line to see if we can go to that Pac-12 Conference Championship. Probably the most intently I have watched the other Pac-12 teams play all year will be this weekend. I'm out of here, guys. Go Utes.